Welcome, everyone. My name is Paul. I am the founder of Woke News Report and also the creator of Woke Board Game, which you can find more information about at wokeboardgame.com. Today, we're going to be talking about something pretty interesting. You know, I always say that woke is a top-down situation for people in power to use in order to depopulate the earth. So imagine you're sitting around the boardroom and you've got 30 things on the table, and someone says LGBTQIA plus or whatever that stands for. They say, why don't we use that? You've already got climate change. You already have open borders, fentanyl, cartels, drugs, the whole nine yard. They're already coming across the border. You're already involved in many, many wars. You've got a lot of things going on that will depopulate the earth. But then someone has this brilliant idea. Let's turn little boys into little girls into little boys, change their anatomy. Obviously, they can't have babies. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, because a new study just came out, and I'm going to show you that study right now. So this is a study that came out just recently, and it says 7.2% of U.S. adults identify as LGBT. And the interesting thing about this particular thing is the Gen Z right here. That's in red. 1997 to 2004. If you were born from 1997 to 2004, you are Gen Z. This report here shows that in 2014, which these babies at the oldest would be about 10 years old, there is a 0% chance that you're going to be LGBT at 10 years old. You fast forward to 2017, and 3 years later, guess what? Once again, statistically speaking, and this is the source is Gallup. This is posted on Statista. I've not really heard of Statista, but Clown World on Twitter did, and that's a great account. If you're going to follow an account, comes up with some really good stuff. I enjoy following Clown World. But the source is Gallup. In 2017, statistically speaking, 0% of these people born in Gen Z, 1997 to 2004, do not, would not, or are not, or do not, well, however you want to say it, they don't purport to be LGBT. A short 3 years later, by the time they get to 2020, look at this percentage. It's about 16%. It's over the 15% mark. It's around 16%, I guess. In 3 years, it goes from 0% to about 16%, which is crazy. But it's not as crazy as only 2 years later. Because 2 years later, when Gallup did this poll or survey or whatever it was that they did, all of a sudden, Gen Z, born from 1997 to 2004, 19.7%, which is 0.3% away from 20% of that Gen Z population identify as LGBT. Now, what do you think is going to happen to birth rates in the next 10, 15, 20 years if this trend continues? And especially the T part of it, which is the gender swapping. Already you have people that are suggesting that men can menstruate and they can't. They can have babies, they cannot. People in Congress refuse to even answer what a woman is. Like if they're testifying in front of Congress and Congressman says, "Excuse me, sir or madam, what is a woman?" They can't define it. Even though they're probably older than I am, 50s, 60s, 70-year-olds, They just refuse to say what a woman is. They argue for children as young as 7 years old who apparently are not going to be able to have social media or be on social media according to this new bill that they're trying to pass. You can't be on social media, but clearly you can define your gender if you're at that age. And not only that, not only define it as you see fit, you can also get puberty blockers and drugs, testosterone, estrogen, whatever you need in order to change genders. Excuse me. Well, you know, a lot of hospitals now, Vanderbilt University and places like that, they've had programs that are giving full mastectomies to 10-year-olds, I guess, or 11, 12, somewhere around in there. Children who choose to be a different gender. These children will not grow up and be able to procreate and have babies. So depopulation is all about this LGBTQIA plus woke being the top down thing that it is. They're going to eliminate as many people as they possibly can and depopulate the earth as much as they can. It's pretty clear to see. They've got 30 other things that they're using already. This is just one more of them. And I don't know that the people that are going through this, that wake up suddenly one day and say, oh, wow, I saw on television this thing and I identified with it and now I'm a girl or a boy or whatever. I don't know that happens. But in whatever way they attract people to this is working. If 20%, 19.7% of Gen Z born from 1997 to 2004 identify now as LGBT, we're going downhill really fast as far as population in the coming years. It affects everything, by the way. You look at Japan and their population problem, they're not having babies either. There are a lot of countries that are having babies. India continues to grow. China's programs have changed so that they can continue to grow. Except for the war in Ukraine and Russia, they were essentially growing in a sense. But it's going to change a lot of things financially for America and for every adult that gets into octogenarian, is that the word? Gets older, gets to be Biden's age. It's going to be a real mess in 10, 20, 30 years when there's not enough people to pay for all this. Elon Musk even says we need to create more babies, and he does his part, obviously. So I found that really interesting. And then on this other site, I saw, or it's another Twitter thing, but corporate America is canceling Mother's Day. And this came out April 24th, 2023. Are you surprised? Now, this is talking about how they're sending emails that if you don't want to get any emails about Mother's Day because you're estranged from your mother or you're part of this LGBTQIA plus thing, then we understand and we're just going to basically cancel Mother's Day for you. In other words, we're not going to hurt your feelings. You know, it's like the social justice warriors when they're at their meeting there and you got to do wavy hands because sensory overload and all that crap. Well, they're going to cancel Mother's Day. And if they keep it up, there's not going to be too much of a reason for Mother's Day. I mean, men will be mothers, theoretically, according to them anyway, in due time. Even though these people that are LGBT, primarily, a majority of them, will never have kids. And it's interesting because right now, the left and the woke in particular are targeting kids. The sexualization of books in schools and libraries and the drag shows. I've written about this on the Woke News Report Substack. I have us a whole series about it. It's really crazy that this is happening, but you got to remember it's all about depopulation. That's the only thing that matters, whether it's global warming or climate change or whatever they call it this week or whatever they called it, 10 years ago, that still hasn't came true. That's really all it is about. But 7.2% of U.S. adults identify as LGBT. And I remember, I guess, not long ago, it was like 1.7%. But they started running the agenda, and it's top down. It's top driven. It's not like some guy in their basement came up with this idea and said, we're going to change the world with this. It's all academia, and it's all leftists who believe that the population of the earth is just too large to quote unquote sustain earth. And these are one of the ideas that they came up with. It's sickening. It's going to work. You think you can stop it. You think you can fight it. You think you can do things, but they've been playing this war of attrition for a very long time now. And they know how to play it because they always play the long game. We had, in my report on Substack, I was talking about Bugs Bunny growing up was always in drag. And on television, he would dress up in drag in order to escape whatever harm that he was about to be under from whomever was trying to harm him. He would dress up and, Klinger growing up with MASH. Klinger wore a dress all the time. He was in drag and bosom buddies. Tom Hanks became primarily famous for bosom buddies. He dressed in drag. It was part of the pantheon of history. Did we see way back then how it was going to transform now in order that children are having mastectomies and literally getting chopped up by doctors, hospitals? Even the military has bought into this, and it's pretty scary, but it's not going to stop. It's been ongoing for 40 years and or more, and it's going to be one of those things that we're going to have to live in the future with a lot less population because babies are not going to be born. They're going to cancel Mother's Day. Babies are not going to be born. We're going to talk in later episodes about COVID and the shot and what it's doing. It's insane, but that's the world we live in. I appreciate you tuning in. If you like this video, appreciated the commentary, leave a like, share it. Be sure to follow the pages, whether it's Rumble or the other place. And I'll see you soon.